This is where we're talking about potential podiums every single week. And I think the place to start with that is Red Bull. And the reason I say that is they were right in it till the end on the drivers last year with Max Verstappen. But obviously, the performance of the car just wasn't enough in the end. There wasn't enough consistency. Where do they stand? They've got a brand new power unit. They've got a brand new driver paired with Max Verstappen. How have they looked after testing?
Tim.
Well, they're your team, buddy.
Yeah. I knew he was going to say that. So
I'll go first if you want me to.
But... No, it's fine. Verstappen thinks they're not there yet. That's clear. We spoke to him this week as well, as we do on many occasions, and he is very, very cautious. But he's also optimistic because I think the team surprised themselves and a lot of people in the paddock to come out swinging the way they did. The engine looks fairly reliable, looks strong enough, it looks pliable enough on track. They really know how to implement the power. They may have been sandbagging a little. I'm jury's out on that. But it looked maybe not the total package compared to all the other competitors. But the building blocks are there. If this team can hit the ground running, whether it starts in 3rd or 5th or 7th on the grid, it doesn't really matter. But if they can hit the ground running and work through the development phase of this regulation set, it's going to change so much over the next few weeks and months. Then I believe come the mid part of the season, they will definitely be in contention all the time. It may be occasionally in the beginning, but all the time come the second part of the season. That's where I think they're at. They're not there yet, but they look good.
Hanging around the Red Bull Ford powertrains announcement that Nelson and I went to in Detroit back in January, you kind of got the lay of the land of just how much Ford had actually put into working with this team. And surprisingly, it was a lot more than I think a lot of us thought. If you go back to last year, it really sounded like the alarm bells were going off, that this was not going to be a great marriage, and this Red Bull powertrain engine was probably going to be really bad to start this season. And then getting to the track, hearing how positive things went during the shakedown in Barcelona, and then seeing the mileage that this thing was able to do during testing was extremely impressive. I think when Toto Wolff says that, at that moment, when it comes to deployment, this is the fastest team on the grid, and by a long shot. Obviously, Toto is going to be playing them up a bit, but still the fact that he did, I think, still says that this is going to be a very competitive powertrain that this team has made. The question marks for me, and Nelson, you may be able to fill in the gaps with this one, is the aerodynamics. They've had some key personnel leave on that side of things. And if you're Pierre Vacher, that's got to be extremely concerning, because you're going to have a lot of work to do this season to help develop this race car and make it quick. And one of the things that they're going to have to do is keep Max Verstappen happy.
Yes, that's definitely the case. But I think the reason in the end why he chose to stay at Red Bull was because he had faith in this engine development and in the people that are still there. And Laurent Mekies will be vital to that. It's not just Pierre Vacher, and it's up to Mekies to fill the gaps in people leaving those roles. But what I found interesting is that the car hit the sweet spot really quickly. It didn't look like a handful. So does that mean that the ceiling is a little bit too low, or is it a car that once they put development on is going to be quick enough? It'll be more about how you manage the power unit, I suppose, initially, and then halfway through the season it has to come together. I just have a feeling that the momentum they got, the self-confidence they got from last year, the second part of last year, is lingering there. It's still there. And I still believe this combination with Verstappen will be a force.
I think with having Christian Horner out of the way, and having Laurent Mekies come in and have that engineering mind, engineering background, and putting that into place, like the likes of Andrea Stella has done at McLaren, Io Komatsu down at Haas, James Valls down at Williams, having someone like that with that strength in that leadership role who does know how to lead has made a huge difference with this team. The air around the team is much clearer now. I would say that I see a lot of team personnel at this team a lot happier now under Laurent than they were under Horner, and I just see this team has changed. And I think when you look at Max, I think he understands what Laurent's doing. He has trust and confidence in what Laurent's doing, and I think the same thing still applies this season as it did to the back half of last season. If you're Max Verstappen, just give me something that'll get me there and I'll take care of the rest.
Exactly.
Now, Max Verstappen has not been an easy guy to race alongside of, and he's got a sophomore in Isaac Hadjar coming in, and he had such a brilliant rookie campaign. They've obviously put him up in the big car for the regulation change. I'm curious about what your expectations with him are, and how do you keep a guy like that focused on his own race and not worried about the multi-time world champion, probably best driver ever? At least he's in the conversation right next to him in the garage, guys.
He hasn't had the mileage for us to make a determination there. He's had, if there were issues with the car, it was on Hadjar's days in the car in Bahrain. I think the jury will be out, and it will be out for a long time, because there's so much to get your head around with these cars that if he doesn't match up to Verstappen, is it because Verstappen is so quick, or is it because he hasn't matched with the car yet? It will be quite a season of self-discovery for Isaac Hadjar, that's for sure.
Yeah, Nelson's right. I think we didn't get to see enough of him in that car out on track. I mean, I know I didn't, even when I was trackside. It just not enough to see what he can actually do. We do know that second seat at Red Bull Racing is extremely, extremely challenging for anyone new who's entering into it. And I always, say this when, a driver is going into a team that has a great driver like a Max Verstappen. And I kind of equate it to when I started racing in Champ Car Atlantics, and my teammate Nelson knows him as Charles Wolfsman. He was incredible. He was an incredible driver. And I knew that, like, there's no way I was going to be able to keep up with him, like, my first few races, first few months into this thing, because he was just so good. He was so fast. And so I knew that I needed to learn from him, and I needed to learn as much as I could. And that was going to be the way that I could keep up and then begin to start challenging. So I think for Hadjar, that needs to be the mindset. You're going to learn from one of the greatest talents in Formula One history. Soak up the knowledge, be a sponge, do whatever you got to do. Don't think you're there to just beat Max Verstappen. Think that you're there to learn from Max Verstappen and then just see where it goes.
And I think he'll be afforded the time to do so under new management. That is very important to Hadjar.
Right. Yeah. No more Helmut Marko. No more Christian Horner. Guys, let me ask you this before we get to the predictions. Does Christian Horner deserve a little bit of credit for the fact that the Ford power unit doesn't seem to have any issues?
Quite a lot of credit. He put this program together with other kingpins at Red Bull, including Mateschitz himself, and the engine is named after Dieter Mateschitz, let's not forget. But Laurent Mekies said yesterday he doesn't want to change the DNA of the team, but to protect it. That DNA is there because of Horner. And it may be a bit of a cheesy PR line, but in effect, yes, it went off the rails a little bit in the last 2 years. But what Horner achieved with this team and with this power unit as well means that he's done an awfully lot of good there. And that must be celebrated as well.
So let me ask you this. Prediction time, end of the season, Constructors title. Where do you have Red Bull standing in it?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
Oh, you and I, buddy. I took number 3 too.
So we're expecting a little bit of maybe some turbulence early, but by the end of the season, we're expecting Red Bull to come on strong, kind of like they did last year, man. Very, very interesting stuff, guys.